So Les Miserables obviously is an international powerhouse. Talk about being part of the ensemble, bringing it to the screen.
I don't think I've ever been part of a movie where it had such a feeling of ensemble. We bonded as a group, I think partly because of the nature of the material, partly because we had 9 weeks of rehearsal, which very few movie companies or directors will allow actors to have. And I think also deep down, all of us not only are fans of the musical, but we also were aware we were doing something that had never been done before. And it's a little nerve-wracking. It's part of the unknown, and there's nothing like that to bring everybody together.
Now the story is so timeless. Why?
Victor Hugo, 150-odd years ago, wrote this incredible novel that speaks to the human condition, injustice, social injustice, political injustice, but ultimately about the heart. It's one of the great portraits of human nature ever written. And it's as relevant today as it was then. Weirdly, politically even as relevant today. In terms of social justice, you know, he talks a lot of inequity, the disparity between the rich and poor, the lack of opportunities. He talks of sexual enslavement for women, you know, which of course still exists in many ways in many parts of the world. So I think it's relevant, it is powerful, and the last line of the musical, which comes from Victor Hugo, is to love another person is to see the face of God. And I think for many people searching for meaning, searching for some form of divinity, Victor Hugo's got some great answers.
Now, your role was physically and emotionally a very demanding one. Talk about how you prepared for it.
Physically, I needed to be unrecognizable at the beginning. So I lost a lot of weight, trying to maintain as much muscle as I could, because Valjean's known for his strength. I went to some fairly extreme lengths to do that. And then, after starting filming, being down a lot of weight, to put weight back on, to show that, you know, the passage of time and the 18 years that the film spans. I think emotionally, obviously the book, the rehearsals, we did a lot of other research, historical research of the period, and just opening myself up, life experience. I think being a parent is a great, playing with Valjean, being a parent is a wonderful preparation. But the other huge thing was vocally. I've sung a lot and I've done a lot of musicals, but this vocally was the biggest challenge. And you know, I have a great singing teacher, Joan Lader, here in New York City, and without her, there's no way I could have done this.
Talk about singing live.
And the singing live, for me, was the greatest gift Tom Hooper could have given us as actors. Not only did we sing live, but the accompaniment in a little earpiece was live as well. So everything felt fresh. Nothing was pre-recorded. Everything was as though for the first time. I did a show here on Broadway last year for 3 months, 8 shows a week, 2.5 hours, and part of the reason was to make sure I had the vocal fitness to be able to get through it. And then we just had to turn up and do it. It was difficult, but the greatest gift of freedom and spontaneity that actors really want.
Just lastly, is there one memory you can share with us from set, one day that really stood out?
The very last scene of the movie, which was shot near the end, I was standing with Anne Hathaway, who's a great friend of mine. And I was so proud. I was watching her because she was losing a lot of weight at the time for the particular part of the movie. I just looked out. There was the barricades, 300 extras, and this massive big field where we were singing the ending. And it just struck me how incredibly lucky we all are to be in a musical, because they don't happen very often, to be singing live, because that doesn't happen very often, and just how close we'd all become as a group. It was... Plus the music was just, you know, hairs on the back of their neck time.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.